Hi, so this is an introduction video to postcode rules. Um, like what actually this is for, what rules we need to create them, all those things, right? And before we start creating one, let's just talk about what postcode rules actually are, right? So you can think of them like ground rules for your team or your project, but written in a way that AI can actually understand and follow it. So basically, we follow certain rules in our daily day-to-day task, and similarly, we need to when we are using agents, we need to provide it with the guidelines of what actually needs to follow or what so we can provide them as part of our postcode rules, right? um, because let's be honest here, like if the model doesn't know what you want, right, it might get creative in ways you definitely didn't ask it ask for actually, right? So for example, if your team decide that all UI tests should be done using playwright and everyone should follow a proper naming convention, you can capture all of that as a postcode rule, and we can supply, and this postcode rule actually get applied whenever you create a new task, and whenever it has to perform certain task and there is a set rule for that, it will follow that. It will actually send these rules to the model which you are using, and the model uses that rule to perform those tasks. That's the idea. So that way anyone working on the project, or even that AI or the model, actually follows the same standard, right, across the team. So we have a good document in the postcode document page. Let's start with creating a new rule. So I have this particular framework. This is a demo framework, and we need to implement test. We need to have add some test into it, and we have decided on certain frameworks which we want to use, right? And for that, actually, I would like to create a new rule for. I will be mostly doing my test automation using postcode. So let's create some rules for that. It will be like a testing, what you can say, test framework guidelines or something like that. And you can access all the rule from top over here. So for example, I have these rules currently, which are some of them are inactive. So we have global rules and workspace rule. So if you are creating a workspace rule, it will be applied to your code base, and it will be only available for this particular code base. So when you create a workspace rule, it will create this folder structure, and in the rules folder you will have that rule. And if you are creating a global rule, it will be available across your projects in this machine. So consider like workspace rule if you are creating rule for the whole team, and you will be checking in this code and everyone can you I mean by default these rules will be followed by everyone, including the agent or the model which you use or the team uses, right? So that is one way of accessing the rule. Another way is from below. There is rules and workflows you can access. You can enable, disable all the rules which are available. So to create a rule, that is pretty much simple. You have to use a slash command new rule, right? So if you are creating a local rule, it will be new rule. If you are creating a global rule, it will be new global rule. For now, we can create a new rule which is a local rule, what I want actually. So I will just copy paste something which I have already created. Yeah, so let's name it as test framework rule. um, so it's a guidelines for the test framework basically. So we can type in natural language like what all things we need from this rule, and it will the model which we are using will interpret it and create a perfect rule for us. I mean, rule document for us, right? So we don't have to follow a certain pattern or certain um, certain standard over here actually. So here what I am trying to do is, like, we are decided that we will go with robot framework, and we will be using browser library for our UA automation and other steps, like what all things I want from the for this particular rule. Like, we need to maintain proper structure, we need to follow Python guidelines, best practices, we need to have good locator strategy. So this is all a starting point. We can always modify rules, workflows, whatever we create. So let's go with this, and then if required we will modify it, right? So let's give it a try. So it has understand that we need to create a rule, and it's trying it out. Let's wait till it completes. So as you can see, it is creating a .md file. So it is easy for a human also to follow them. Yeah, so once the rule is completed, we can go through that. So here is the thing it has created. So the technology stack, it has completely got it. The project structure it has defined. So these all are based on the experience this model has. So if you are using a different model, it might create a different rule, right? So always you have to go through once. So good naming. So what all things it knows it has created with its experience, right? Um, so locator strategy, and to my uh, experience, like, I am using Sonnet actually, and it creates what we ask for actually. So yeah, I think most of the things are there, right? And it will give you an understanding of what actually it has created, what all things it has followed, all these things, right? Right. So this is how you create a rule. Now, you will not be actually like workflows. You will not be using these rules. So these rules will get attached to any task actually. So for example, let's ask it to create the folder structure for testing or something like that. Let's see whether it will be able to pick. So if you see over here, rules, and so now the test framework rule is been enabled by default, right? Once it creates, it will enable over here, and in new task it will be used. So let's see what happens. Like, if we give something like uh, create um, create the for this demo, I will just create the boilerplate. Let's see whether it picks up all the things which is being mentioned in the rules. So it understood that it has to create a robot framework. Nowhere else we have mentioned robot framework, so it is using the uh, rule over here, and it has, based on the rules, it has identified all the libraries which we require, right? Even git ignore for the test. So it is following the rule actually. So it, whatever rule is saying, it is actually capturing all those elements. So you can see what all things it is planning to do from the task. This is a nice feature of postcode which will display all the task at the top. You can edit this task if you want. So it's doing more than what we have asked it to do. So it is creating all the required pages as well. Let's stop it and say that we do not want to. How good your model is, model which you are using, it will do the task accordingly. So you can see, like, it has followed all the rules, and so if we are doing it manually, like, it's kind of a week worth of effort it has completed now. in almost like 10 minutes. Almost completed, I mean. It is also creating an example test template. Now it will create a readme file as well for us to understand. So it has completed all the 11 tasks, and now it will present what all things it has done. And this is what this is how you create a rule, and how rules are getting used. So I hope you guys will start using rules and also the workflows. These are the basic elements before starting. I will suggest like you can utilize these functionalities of postcode to improve your day-to-day work. Thank you.